Have you ever felt like you're not alone, even when every door is locked? Have you ever walked through your house in that heavy silence where even the sound of your footsteps feels like an intruder? What if I told you that for some people that feeling wasn't paranoia? It was a warning. And the worst part, they only realized it when it was already too late. There are things no one likes to admit out loud, like the fear of being watched, not in the street, not at work, but inside your own home, the one place you're supposed to feel safe. It's a fear that starts small, subtle, like a shadow at the edge of your vision, a chill with no explanation, a sound you try to rationalize. Maybe it was just the wind. Maybe I forgot to turn off the light. But deep down, something inside you knows. Something senses it. And in this video, you're going to understand why. Because that feeling, that unease, might not just be in your head. Some people ignored it, tried to silence that instinct, to lock away the fear with the doors. But it came back, as faint noises in the middle of the night, scratches that seemed to come from the ceiling, objects moving without explanation, food disappearing, and that constant discomfort, like someone was following your every move. That's when the real terror begins, when the house, your sanctuary, starts turning into an invisible prison. A prison that breathes with you, that listens, that waits for you to fall asleep. You try to convince yourself it's just your imagination, just stress, but there's a part of you that doesn't believe it, a part that wakes up at 3 a.m. and stares at the ceiling, listening, trying to figure out if what you heard was real, if those footsteps really came from your cat, or if you don't even have a cat. The feeling is clear, someone is here, but where, how, why? Now imagine, you set up a hidden camera, just to be sure, just to prove to yourself that you're overreacting. You hit record and go to sleep trying to forget, but when the morning comes and you watch the footage, your blood runs cold. You see a figure emerging from the attic, moving silently like a predator. It walks through your house with familiar steps. It opens your fridge. It stands still, watching you sleep. For minutes. Then it vanishes back into the hidden entrance, as if it's routine, as if it's been doing this every night for weeks. These kinds of stories don't just happen in movies, they're happening right now. They happen to real people, people who discovered someone had been secretly living in their attic, inside their walls, or in the forgotten crawl spaces of their home. Some for months, others for years. And some didn't want to steal, didn't want money, they just wanted to be there to watch, to feel, to exist nearby without being seen. Their presence was like a blur in the eyes of those who pretend not to see, a shadow that only reveals itself when it's too late. And the most terrifying part, the signs were there the entire time. But no one ever taught us how to listen, how to trust our instincts, to believe in that chill that comes from nowhere, that moment when the house seems to breathe louder than it should. And the question that stays is, what if this is already happening to you? What if right now, someone is above your ceiling listening to you type, breathe, exist? What if they know more about your routine than you do? Sometimes silence is just silence, but sometimes, it's someone waiting for your guard to drop. If this made something inside you stir, leave a comment. If it reminded you of a strange night, a detail you ignored, write, "I'm still here." Because maybe, just maybe, you're really not alone. They call it hidden occupancy, a technical term, clinical, almost too cold to describe the real horror these people lived. Ordinary people, someone like you, who went to work early, came home tired, locked everything, made dinner, and went to bed. Meanwhile, there was a presence, alive, physical, real, moving inside the walls, waiting, watching, breathing with you. A person who wasn't invited, but who knew every sound of your routine, who knew when you took a shower, when you left the house, when you cried at night, and for some dark reason they chose to stay. When authorities finally show up, they make it sound simple: unlawful entry and trespassing. But what no one can explain, Boots, is the trauma left behind. Because it's not just fear of the other, it's fear of yourself, of not noticing, of having lived with it, of having ignored the signs, and the cruelest part of all is the doubt that eats at you. How many times was that person right there near me while I was vulnerable, while I was showering, deep asleep? In that moment of despair when I cried thinking I was alone? There's a story hardly anyone knows, about a woman who spent months hearing sounds from the attic but never found anything, until one day she nailed the hatch shut out of fear. The next morning, the nails were on the inside, pulled out, one by one, as if the thing inside wanted to show it wasn't hiding out of fear. It was hiding by choice, because that was the game, because control was his. And that's when you understand. The real fear isn't of what you can see. It's of what's there and refuses to be seen. It's knowing someone could be in the dark, watching you, studying you like a hunter studies its prey before the strike. And if you think this is just a movie plot, think about the homes you've lived in. How many rooms did you never open? How many spaces between walls, locked basements, or hidden passages have gone ignored for years, even decades? The truth is brutal. Not all homes are empty when you move in. These stories awaken something ancient in us. A fear of what lives in the invisible. Not the supernatural, but the hidden, in broad daylight. The evil that breathes near but never shows itself. That feeds on your routine, your peace, your forgetfulness. It's a kind of terror that doesn't scream, doesn't chase. It just waits for the right moment to slip from the attic, grab more food, and maybe lay down beside you for a few minutes before returning to the dark. You can turn off the lights, lock the door, but the walls, can you trust them? If this gave you chills, write in the comments. I've always felt something strange. And if you've lived something like this, we're listening. Because some stories can no longer be ignored, and maybe telling yours is the first step to not feeling so alone anymore. There's a moment when the house breathes with you, and you feel it. It's not imagination, not paranoia. It's instinct, something primal, animal. You're being watched. But when you turn around, there's nothing. Just walls, just doors, just silence. But what if that silence is the breath of someone who's learned not to be seen? Someone who didn't break in, but was always there. From the very beginning. What if you weren't the first resident? What if the real owner is the one who lives in the spaces no one checks? People think presence reveals itself through noise, screams, footsteps, panic, but no. The scariest ones reveal themselves calmly, in details, like a strange smell that appears in the hallway out of nowhere, like your toothbrush moving, like that gut feeling that someone is behind you as you brush your teeth with the bathroom door slightly open. It's in these cracks that they live. Because they don't want to be seen, they want to be felt, and they want you to go insane slowly. There was a case in Minnesota. A man lived alone. Every night he heard footsteps upstairs, but upstairs was empty. Just the attic. He thought it was rats, but rats don't have bare feet, and they don't drag furniture. until one day he climbed up with a flashlight and found a plate, a child's blanket, and a letter, handwritten, with phrases about him, his routine, what he ate, how sad he looked, as if someone had been watching his life like a live diary right next to him under the same roof. He never slept in that house again. He said, "It wasn't the fear that got me, it was the intimacy. He knew me better than I knew myself." And that's the deepest horror. It's not just that someone was there, it's that this someone knew your scent, your schedule, your habits, knew where you hid your spare key, knew you shower at 10 p.m., that you sleep deeply, that you like to listen to music before bed. This person lived there and watched you, unseen, unheard, but always present. You thought you were alone. But someone shared everything with you, the smells, the sounds, the air, the time, every single detail. There are even worse accounts, like the single mother who thought her daughter had imaginary friends. Until one night, around 3 a.m., she heard her daughter whisper, "Shh, he said you wake up if we make noise." She ran to the room. The girl pointed at the closet. "He stays there during the day." Police found scratch marks on the floor, a gap behind the closet that led into old plumbing. Inside, food scraps and photos of the child sleeping on different days. No one was ever caught. The invader vanished, and all that remained was the echo of the daughter's voice repeating, "He said he'd come back." Now, look around. Does your house make noises at night? Have you ever found a door half open even after closing it? Smelled something you didn't cook? Woken up with the feeling of being watched? Could be a coincidence. Could be just a dream. But what if it's him or her? Someone who knows how to move in the dark, who studied you for weeks before deciding to reveal themselves, or maybe never planned to reveal themselves. They just want to stay in silence, watching. You can lock everything, install cameras, pray, but if they're already in the walls, maybe they never left. If this shook something inside you, comment below. I'm not alone. Because sometimes admitting that fear exists is the only way to survive it. And tonight, before you sleep, do one thing. Listen, stay completely silent, and see if the silence really belongs to you.